Transformation is an intensive experience and it's meant to be. There is a purpose. It's not something that we do every day for the rest of our lives in that level of intensity, but it's something in short bursts. It can do so much to really have you evolve in the ways that you know you're meant to, that you are being called to. Now, in life and in business, transformation is like bringing a certain very special laser into your grasp that you can use to start kind of carving out the things that you imagine in your vision, in creating them. And when you're using yourself as the thing that is going to be transformed, it's really in the way that I work with people, it's about letting the true self come out. So the transformation is the true self coming into your life and you acting on it, you thinking from it, you feeling it, you being it, you taking actions and making decisions from that place instead of the survivor mentality that most of us have, right? That's just like the conditioning that a human goes through on this planet, right? And so transformation is a way, a process, a journey, which means there is time involved in that, that allows us to go through something so that we come out the end feeling and experiencing ourselves in a new and fresh way, in a more whole way, in a way where we're not holding back, where our expression is actually coming out in authenticity, in precision, in clarity, in power. And that has the ability to grow your business in ways that will fulfill you and not just get the material results, right? So I often talk about systems and techniques, how them, they're the outer thing. We've got wonderful AI now. We've got like the computers with so much information at our fingertips. And yet, if we just rely simply on like using those kinds of things to create the success, we can get it at times and then miss out on the actual experience that we were longing for, right? That is what is happening when we have a calling, we have a soul vision. It's not just to have a result. We desire to be the creator. We want the role of creator. And so challenges are a part of it, and they're not a negative part, because without them, things are just, easy and they show up, and there's no sense of I created that. And I think as humans, we just, get off on that. We like it. There's a joy in that process, right? I personally don't think that most of us are here to say, oh, I just want to win the lottery and sit on the beach the rest of my life, right? Maybe there are some people, but honestly, I don't think most people like to be really engaged. They want to see, what am I made of? What can I create? What are those, all those wonderful ideas that come through me that I want to now express into the world? And I've been going through my own transformation, and that what I mean by that is I have been doing several things in my life and business that are new, very new. So I've had these steep learning curves, and the way I like to do that for myself is create intensive experiences, because that learning curve, when it's that level of intensity, it is really challenging. And I've had plenty of days where it was frustrating and felt like, why can't I just do this sooner? But it was like going through it. It was like building some kind of muscle that I needed, so that these and the next steps that are happening, that I have the strength and the ability to do that. I can hold the space for those things to unfold now. And so I was looking at a few important parts of life, right? I was looking at financial, I was looking at health and fitness, and my brand, and how my brand has evolved over years. And all of that is like pretty deep and intense things when you want to create positive shifts, when you want to see a different result. And so I do have times in my life where I place myself in those intense experiences so that I can come out partially in a way faster. I can come out of it faster and actually have that in my, whether it's my tool belt, in my resources, in my results. And also because it's something that, we can't spread out and live like that every day, right? It's just something that we do in spurts throughout our life. And when you do that, when you have a growing phase in your business, right, it's going to require more of you for a period of time until things stabilize. And then maybe you're going to, ride that for a while before the next, cycle begins. And so I've been going through that for, let's see, probably since about March, I guess, more, I guess, consistently and strongly. And, as I've said before, done, a few videos in this time. But the good part is that I'm now coming to the place where it's like I'm kind of coming out of that one tunnel and seeing the light, and some new things have been established, so there's new things that I can carry on. So in my health and well-being, very new practices that I'm doing, that it's like now that I did the hard part, which was learning them and changing to adapt to them, now I can just kind of sustain it for a period of time to allow the shifts to happen. In my financial world, it's looking at what is my bigger picture. Where am I? What are the things that I need to learn and have in place? And so some of those things I did set in place. And now that just feels like there's a part of me that has calmness to it, because it's like, okay, like I'm in that, I'm in that cycle already. I'm doing that. And now again, there's certain things I have to do to just top that up. And that, it's not going to take a lot of time, but I really run on certain energetic cycles. So it's like when something happens, I'll just do it, and other times it's like I don't want to do any of it for the next 10 days. I don't even look at it. I want to think about it. So while I've been I guess trying to kind of coax myself or motivate myself to do some of these pieces, I notice there's just a kind of a no coming, from my physical self. It's like, no, I'm not doing that yet. So I have learned that is really important for me to just trust that. And the last time I did that in this regard, I had actually really gave me a higher result because I did, and that was fun to experience. So while I find like my mind, my ego wants to coax myself and motivate, it's like, come on, do it now. When there is a resistance, it's either there's a reason for the resistance, and sometimes, we don't know it, but there's something beyond us that does. And sometimes, yeah, we have to kind of warm ourselves up to something. But since I have been doing that and it's not working, I'm starting to go, okay, look, there's the timing just isn't probably right. So just chill on that for a while, and I can come back to it. And then the other big thing was really around my own branding. Now, a couple of years ago, I came up with a new brand that really lit me up. And I actually did a lot of work on it behind the scenes. I've got the content down, and I shared some of that work out to the public. I ended up offering one of my first luxury intensives in person with a client, and that was really fun. It was 2 days in a different city and a beautiful hotel, and we had wonderful meals, and we really focused on this client's vision and some of her transformation that she had, been stuck on for a while, and not like feeling empowered, not really feeling like she was in the driver's seat. And so I think in those 2 days we were able to really create that shift. Like, she was having so many light bulb moments, as well as like inner transformation was really showing up in the way she was now. It was like her mind was opening, and a lot of kind of the things that she was telling me was showing me that it was opening, like there was an opening happening and an acceleration that was happening. And that, along with, we did styling because I include that for some of my clients. And so we had a bit of a shopping spree for her just one afternoon, and she came out with this amazing wardrobe. That was just so much more her, you know. She's already a bright light, but it was like she was hiding that or dimming that, and now she was like being able to show up in ways that she was both comfortable, but also her beauty was coming out. So anyways, that was like, that went on a couple of years ago, and then I went really quiet for a while on that. It wasn't that it went away, but I just really went quiet because it just felt like there was something yet for me personally that I needed to yet do or embody further for me to be able to present this work, this body of work, in a way that felt really integrated, that felt very clear, and where I could be fully present to it, right? And so transformation isn't just like, oh, all the, exciting, let's like quantum leap forward, but it's also a deepening process where sometimes we do have to go deeper, quiet, sometimes even silent, while the shifts start occurring, right? And while the shifts are happening, so that when we emerge fully intact and able to proceed without having to take, constant like start, stop, start, stop, start, stop, which, part of that is inevitable, I think, in the entrepreneurial journey, in the creative journey, in the life journey. However, that's where, again, these transformational processes, when you enter them for their intensity, when you enter them with your full intention and your presence and your investment and your wholeness, you are fully in, you are fully committed, you are devoted to your transformation, then so much more begins to flow and open up for you. And the way it's going to do that is different for, I think, just about everybody I've worked with. But one of the common themes is that they come into their wholeness when, prior to that work together, they were starting to feel scattered. They were maybe in anxiety, a lot of stress, perhaps overwhelm, or just really just doing a lot of stuff and not getting results, and then not feeling fulfilled or feeling stuck, right? So these were some of the things that were happening before, and when they entered the transformation process, they were able to just clear out so much very quickly, so that we could then focus on their true vision and where they are going now. And so this current YouTube channel that I started, I guess a few months ago now, came at a time when I guess I felt more ready to share some of this. And also, like, I knew, like, I was going through my own transformation, because isn't that the best time to teach or share or like express, because other people will resonate for it, like I love to listen to people who make millions of dollars and have gone through this journey, like, years ago and all of that. But sometimes what I find is that their communication, their expression, like, they're already at such a different level, that while they can tell us a story and they can tell us the things they did, the transmission, their energy, their resonance isn't at that place anymore. And so I have found that sometimes people who are closer to where I am, when it comes to my actual transformation, can be more potent at times. And then the other kind of, the ones who have gone through it much earlier, they can give certain kind of glimpses of what's to come. They can give definitely certain truths that are really important, but that work can't be done by them, right? So the work always has to be done within us. So here, as I go through my changes now, my shifts, I can, you may sense that from me. You're going to do it. It's going to happen so much more now than, let's say, even 2 years down the road, unless, again, I'm going through another cycle of shift and change, and I'm sharing that. In my own life and business, honestly, I've gone through so many cycles, And there's a constant, almost reinvention. And when I mean constant, I mean like I'm always asking some of the bigger and the deeper questions. I like to have a life and business full of meaning and purpose. I'm not interested in just finding some thing that'll say it's just like a cash cow. It just makes money and I don't have to think about it, right? And then I want to spend my rest of my life just on the beach or whatever. That's not me. It might be you, and it might be me on certain, in certain times of the year or whatever when I want to take a break. And of course, I love the idea of having a cash cow, something that will deliver in a way that seems more passive. But generally, that idea of having meaning and purpose, I think, is a big part of anybody who understands what it is to have a calling and who desires a deeper sense of fulfillment. For those who don't just want to copy and mimic, but they want to be part of the creation. And so, yeah, let's see what happens. But I think right now my intention is, at least in the next few weeks, to share some of these pieces that are coming through. And honestly, I've got a lot of content now that I've worked on that I can begin sharing. This is one of the prime platforms that I will stay on, and maybe one more. I dabble in kind of all of them, but honestly, I've never been compelled. But now, as things are forming, I'm going to see how that goes, and it may change, but I definitely want to show up here. So anyways, that's just today's video is really a sharing of where I am. You might have like picked up certain pieces that you're like, okay, I get that, or I'm going through this transformation myself, or I do desire that more intense experience of transformation. It is time. Maybe you feel like you've been coasting, or you've been really steady and consistent, but there's been no like higher energy coming in to what you're creating. That's when the transformative process can be actually really powerful. It really wakes us up. It shakes us up in really good ways. It can feel really tough and intense at moments, but like because we know where it's going and what we're directing that energy towards, it's so worthwhile. So yeah, I think that's all I want to say today. And I will talk to you soon.